Good evening. I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Wilson School Board for Monday, November 4th, 2019. Can I have roll call, please?
Mr. Ehrlich?
Here.
Mr. Hart?
Here.
Mr. Hopp?
Here.
Dr. Kennedy?
Here.
Mrs. Cocker?
Here.
Mr. Martin?
Here.
Mr. Negrini?
Here.
Mr. Wolf?
Here.
9 present, 0 absent.
Thank you. Would you all please rise for the pledge to the flag?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Mr. Maravich?
There's two opportunities for the public to address the board. The first is on agenda items, which is immediately before the agenda. Second is on non-agenda items, which is at the end of the meeting. Pursuant to board policy and the Sunshine Law, it is a 3-minute opportunity for the public to provide the board with matters that are or may come before it.
Okay, it does not look like we have any public participation. So moving along to communications, we have Ms. Ashley Filer here, who's the president of our Wilson Theater Company. She'll be presenting some updates regarding the shows, activities, and fundraisers.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me here to speak tonight. I really appreciate it. As you said, my name is Ashley Filer, and I'm this year's Wilson Theater Company president. And today, I'd just like to give you a brief overview of what Theater Company is about and what we have planned for this upcoming year. So just an overview, Wilson Theater Company is a student-run organization, meaning that students are not only the performers in our shows, but also run all the behind-the-scenes technical aspects. And this year we are planning to perform 3 main stages in addition to a bunch of other fundraisers and events. But before I get into that, I'd like to take a second to introduce our new director this year, Ms. Lennon.
Hi. I'm Mary Lennon. I'm the new theater teacher and director of the Wilson Theater Company and at Wilson High School, and it's very nice to meet you all.
She's been outstanding so far. For the few months that I've gotten to work with her, she's been so supportive, and I'm really excited for what we're about to do. Oh, I didn't take this before. I have one job. Really? Okay. Bam. All right. So this year, for our main stages, our season began about 2 weekends ago when we performed the comedy Clue on stage. And upcoming next, we have Dracula, which we'll be performing January 9th through January 11th. And I invite all of you guys to come attend. I think it's going to be a great show. And the really exciting thing is that we have the opportunity to perform a cutting of Dracula at ITS, which stands for the International Thespian Society. So ITS is a 3-day conference that we as a theater company attend annually, where we meet with a bunch of other thespian troupes from throughout the state. So it's really cool that we get to present this for everybody. And following that, for our spring musical, we will be performing Beauty and the Beast, which I'm super excited about. We will probably be back at the end of February, early March to perform a few songs from the show, so definitely stay tuned for that. And not listed up there, we have our one-act festival, which will take place April 23rd to 25th. And that's when our seniors in the senior acting and directing class have a chance to showcase one acts that they themselves direct and produce. So additionally to our main stages, Theater Company does a bunch of different events and fundraisers that reach out to the community and really involve as many members as possible. So our next upcoming fundraiser is Bingo, which will be November 24th, and the community can buy tickets to come in and play bingo for the chance to win over 20 prizes from a bunch of different local shops and stores. Later in the year, we will have our annual Supper Serenade event, which is when Theater Company hosts a pasta dinner, and the WTC members are both the servers and performers. It's like dinner and a show. And then following that, in March, we will be hosting Breakfast with Belle in order to promote Beauty and the Beast. So as you can see there, we used to do a Princess and Pirate fundraiser, but this year we're going to have the WTC members dress up as princesses and serve breakfast to all those who are interested in the community. However, we do much more than fundraisers. We really strive to reach out to the community and involve everybody. So one thing that we do is over the summer, we host theater camps for elementary and middle school students that are interested in learning more. And for our own members, we have a summer retreat at Bear Creek Camp, which is when members and officers for the upcoming year can come together, and we have a few days to not only team build, but plan future events. So we don't have much to showcase about Dracula yet because we're just hosting auditions tomorrow. So I'd like to speak a little bit about our last show, Clue on Stage. As I said before, it's totally student-run, so all of the set, props, costumes, lighting, basically anything you can think of was run and organized by our students, which is something that we at Wilson Theater Company really take pride in because it provides an opportunity for everybody to get involved, whether they would rather be on the stage or backstage. One thing I'm really proud about with this show is how we were able to put it together in such a short time frame. Normally we have 2.5, even 3 months to produce a show, but with Clue, we were able to put all of this together in about a month, which I think is really impressive, and I'm super proud of everybody involved for rising to that occasion. So along those same lines, Theater Company, I've been a member since I was a freshman. And the reason I keep coming back is honestly because of the community that we have here. It's just every single show that I've been a member of, I've made long-lasting friendships, and we really strive to include everyone in Theater Company, whether that be through activities and fundraisers that are also performance opportunities, or through holiday socials that we have where theater members can just come together and have a good time. We really strive to foster those strong relationships. And I think I speak for everybody when I say that Theater Company is like a family, which is why I can't thank you all enough for your continued support of Theater Company and the arts in general, because it provides so many invaluable opportunities for everybody here at Wilson. So thank you so much for your time. I hope to see some of you at Dracula in January and hopefully the musical in the spring. So thank you so much.
Ashley, great job with that update, and speaking for myself, but I'm sure the other board members agree, our theater company has always been and continues to be a real highlight at this district, and the performances you guys put on are just top-notch. So we're very proud of you and glad that you're involved, and you know, we have a new director involved as well that's going to continue that tradition, so thank you again. All right, moving along to approval of the minutes. Looking for a motion to approve the minutes of the school board meeting held October 21st, 2019 as presented. Mr. Martin, thank you. Second. Thank you, Mr. Ehrlich. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Payment of bills, Mr. Martin.
Mr. President, I submit for approval tonight bills in the amount of $1,805,274.39.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Mr. Hopp?
Yes.
Dr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mrs. Cocker?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Negrini?
Yes.
Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
That's 9-4, 0 against.
Thank you. Superintendent's report, Dr. Fadley.
Thank you, President Wolf. It's my privilege this evening to present the superintendent's report. Included are personnel and program recommendations. Before the board takes formal action, I'd like to highlight one retiree, Jerry Burry, who is a custodian at the high school. He is retiring effective November 11th with 17 years of service to the district. I wish him well in his continued endeavors.
Thank you. So we're going to break this out and look for a motion for 4.1 through 4.8 first. Mr. Case, thank you. Second. Mr. Martin, any comments? Roll call, please.
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Mr. Hopp?
Yes.
Dr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mrs. Cocker?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Negrini?
Yes.
Mr. Case?
Yes.
Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
9-4, 0 against.
Thank you. And then looking for a motion for 4.10, which is to approve the extracurricular, co-curricular stipend proposal as presented. Mrs. Cocker, thank you. Second. Mr. Hart, thank you. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Mr. Hop?
Yes.
Dr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mrs. Cocker?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Negrini?
Yes.
Mr. Case?
Abstain.
Mr. Ehrlich?
Yes.
Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
8-4, 0 against, 1 abstain.
Thank you. 5.1, looking for a motion to request permission to approve a trip for 47 forensic science students to the FBI building, Supreme Court building in Washington, D.C. on May 18th, 2020, one day out of school. Cost of students would be $50. Cost of the district is 2 substitute teachers for one day. Students will be chaperoned by Mr. Keener and a chaperone to be determined. Date may change due to availability. Do I have a motion for 5.1? Mr. Negrini, thank you. Dr. Kennedy, second. Any discussion? Voice vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Under HR 6.1, looking for a motion to approve the support staff longevity incentives as presented. Mr. Hart, thank you. Mrs. Cocker, second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Hop? Yes. Dr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mrs. Cocker?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Negrini?
Yes.
Mr. Case?
Yes.
Mr. Ehrlich?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
9-4, 0 against.
Thank you. Under Student Services 7.1, looking for a motion to grant permission of exception to assignment within district for one student. 7.2, looking for a motion to grant to approve the adoption of an agreement and release as presented. 7.3, another motion to grant permission to approve the adoption and agreement and release as presented. So looking for a motion for 7.1 through 7.3. Mr. Ehrlich, thank you. Second. Mr. Case, thank you. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Dr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mrs. Cocker?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Negrini?
Yes.
Mr. Case?
Yes.
Mr. Ehrlich?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Mr. Hop?
Yes.
Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
9-4, 0 against.
Under Technology 8.1, looking for a motion to approve to sell outdated laptops to Sycamore International as presented. A motion for that. Mrs. Cocker, thank you. Second. Mr. Martin, thank you. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Cocker?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Negrini?
Yes.
Mr. Case?
Yes.
Mr. Ehrlich?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Mr. Hop?
Yes.
Dr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
9-4, 0 against.
Thank you. Under Finance 9.1, looking for a motion to grant permission to rename the student activity account for high school cheerleading to the high school sideline cheerleading student activities account. And 9.2, looking for a motion to grant permission to create a high school competition cheerleading student activity account. So motion for 9.1 and 9.2. Mr. Ehrlich, thank you. Mrs. Cocker, second. Thank you. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Negrini?
Yes.
Mr. Case?
Yes.
Mr. Ehrlich?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Mr. Hop?
Yes.
Dr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mrs. Cocker? Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
9-4, 0 against.
10.1, looking for a motion to approve the agreement between Shijiazhuang Number 1 High School and Wilson School District for the establishment of a Confucius classroom. 10.2, motion to approve the student teaching affiliation agreement between Drexel University and the Wilson School District as presented. And 10.3, motion to approve the affiliation agreement between Messiah College and Wilson School District. So motion for 10.1 through 10.3. Mrs. Cocker, thank you. Second, Mr. Hart, thank you. Any discussion? No one wants to try to pronounce that word? Roll call, please.
Mr. Negrini?
Yes.
Mr. Case?
Yes.
Mr. Ehrlich?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Mr. Hop?
Yes.
Dr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mrs. Cocker?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
9-4, 0 against.
Thank you. Moving on to committee reports. BCTC, Mr. Case.
Okay, for the BCTC report, as always, we started with a fantastic dinner created by our fine students at BCTC, and then we had a program tour we get a different tour each time we meet, and this time was the dental technology tour. And it was led by some of the students at BCTC. Wilson actually has a junior and a senior student in this program. They were not there that evening, but we got a tour, and they do full x-rays and full digital x-rays, and they actually did some x-rays while we were there, and there's some x-ray issues where when you have 30 different people in a room to try and get away from the x-rays, it's a fun little event. But anyway, it's a great lab, and I want to read this, so I want to make sure I get this right, but I want to talk a little bit about the program. The Dental Occupations Program integrates lectures, demonstrations, and hands-on experiences to teach students a variety of dental-related subjects. The program provides leading-edge training for a career as a dental assistant and also prepares students interested in attending a post-secondary institution to become a dental hygienist, expanding functional dental assistant or a dentist. So some of the students do actually go on to become dentists or dental hygienists. It takes a little bit of extra secondary ed curriculum to become that. But it's a great program if you want to get into the, it's a nice way to get into the dental career. Anyway, the next thing, it was pretty uneventful for the meeting. The BCTC enrollment numbers came out, and for 2019-2020 school year, we have 125 students from Wilson attending BCTC. It is one of the lower, us and YMissing are the lowest enrollment. And this did come up, we had a good 5-10 minute conversation at the meeting with regards to why. And one of the things, because it's been bothering me, not necessarily bothering me, but I've been trying to get to the bottom of it for quite a while, and there really is no answer. But one thing that a lot of the districts around the table were talking about is that Wilson has a lot of opportunities for all of our students. So when you have a school district like ours with a lot of opportunities, our students tend to stay here for all those different classes and curriculum and extracurricular things that we do here. So it says a lot about us. So it's, is there something to solve or is there not? I mean, BCTC is still a great place to have a different kind of a curriculum, and I know we are looking at things to possibly have juniors or seniors start late and go there. But anyway, I just wanted to bring that up. I mean, we are one of the lower school districts to send the numbers percentage-wise to BCTC. So some of the other things that came out, if anyone's interested in, and I'd be more than happy to share this, or if we can post this online, our BCTC enrollment numbers. Some of the highlights, I suppose, out of those 125 students that we take, we have 9 ninth graders, 35 10th graders, 46 11th graders, and 30 12th graders, and then 5 post-12th grade students that go there. Our largest curriculums that we go through are the healthcare cluster, where we have 16 11th graders, and then for grades 10, our services cluster, which is cosmetology, culinary arts, early childhood education, and then likewise our 12th graders go through that program. So anyway, this kind of breaks it down to the very specific types of classes. I don't know if this is shared with you guys. I'm sure it is. Anyway, it was news to me. Some districts have been asking for it, and this year we got it. Other than that, some other boring news. The BCTC, they passed their audit with flying colors. They have a great finance guy there. So we looked at a book like this. It was a fantastic evening. Anyway, other than that, BCTC is great, and we have the month of November off, and we have a reorg meeting in December. Yes, Mike?
I just want to make a comment about the career technology. The governor, and with the budget recently passed, has shown there's a need for this type of training, has put extra money into the career technology centers because the business community realizes, along with the governor, that the jobs that are needed are not being produced here in Pennsylvania. And only 40% of the graduates out of college get a job in their field. So we have a highly educated workforce, but in the wrong areas. So they're really putting more money into the career technology because there's a lot of need for those type of jobs. That's it.
It's continuing to break down that leap of faith that a student needs to make to say, I want to do this type of, and not feel like they're leaving something off the table.
Right.
A lot of kids, or a lot of students that are going through BCTC are going to college after BCTC. So it's not like back in the olden days where you go to that road and you just work for someone. That's not the case anymore. So,
I've been troubled by that same question when I sat on the JOC. I'm sure you kind of felt the eyes staring at you when they got around to our data, why we're not sending kids. And I think you hit it, that for me, my theory has always been that it's a logistic problem of getting kids there and getting them back and being involved in so many other things that we offer here. If we could teleport kids there, I bet you our enrollment would double, honestly. But I think in order for us to see a big jump in enrollment there, I think some of those services would have to come to us potentially, which is something maybe that can be looked into. But I agree with Mike. I think there's a huge demand in the workforce for some of what they have to offer, but the logistics of busing there and busing back and kids being involved in other things, I would have loved for both of my sons to take some classes out there, but the logistics of it it makes it difficult, makes them make a tough decision.
I say it from time to time, but every electrician I know has a beach house. There's some great careers out there.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you for always speaking on their behalf, though. IU, Berks County IU, Dr. Kennedy.
IU nor the curriculum committee has met since our last school board meeting, so no report for me.
Okay, do you want to move on to curriculum?
Yeah,
Oh, you said you didn't have that.
we got
Okay.
hit them both.
All right, Berks EIT, Ms. Schlossman. Nothing? Okay, thank you. So under extracurricular, just an update. It's an exciting time of year as our teams enter into postseason play. So just a kind of a wrap-up of a few sports and a continuation of a few others. Our boys cross-country team, we did have one student, Christian Gagliardi, who finished in the top 20 at the District 3 meet, which also qualified him for the PIAA state meet. In girls cross-country, Karen Rippey finished fourth, and I believe this is the first year she actually ran cross-country. So amazing for her to have that type of finish in the District 3 meet. And then she also went on to finish 12th in the state as well, so phenomenal. Field hockey is 21-3. They're the District 3 runner-up. Played a great game on Saturday. They open up PIAA play this Tuesday versus Peters Township, 5 o'clock at Mechanicsburg, if you'd like to catch that game. Football is 10-1. They'll host Harrisburg in a District 3 semifinal this Friday at 7 p.m. Boys soccer is 14-7-1. They finished third in District 3. They open up their PIAA play this Tuesday at North Penn, versus North Penn at Upper Perkiomen High School. Our girls soccer is 17-4. They're also finished third in District 3. They open play in PIAA this Tuesday versus Penridge at Souderton High School. Also, their win this past Saturday was our girls coach Tim Fick's 300th career win. So congratulations to him. If you remember, prior to that, he was coaching both boys and girls for some time, but this is just 300 wins with the girls program. So that's phenomenal. Girls volleyball is 14-6. They were the BCIA runner-up. Boys water polo, 18-10. They finished 5th in the state. Amazing. And our girls water polo, 15-7, and they finished 4th in the state. And sitting next to us here, our very own Carolyn Petorak was voted all-state first team as a water polo player. So congratulations to Carolyn. That concludes extracurricular. Facilities, Mr. Negrini.
No report. Our next meeting is next Tuesday at 4:30 at the Operations Building.
Thank you. Mr. Ehrlich, Finance.
The Finance Committee met this afternoon, covered a number of areas. We first had a presentation by Herbine and Company with a draft of the 2018-2019 audit. We will be providing a copy of that with the board update at the end of this week. And also this year, because with all the GASB changes and all types of things, the report gets harder and harder to decipher. So to make it easier, we will have sort of a synopsis that a real nice synopsis that they did, kind of bringing out the highlights of income, revenues, also talking about some of the areas, as we know, that are continuing to be stressful in the district, the pension burden that we face. But that'll be included as well. That'll give a synopsis. So the audit went well. We'll talk about that more next meeting. So the plan is that we will distribute that with the board update at the end of this week and put on the agenda for the next meeting to accept the audit. We also started looking at the budget review for 2020, 2021, so we're not even done with 1 year, and we're already working on the next. So we will have some items on the agenda for next meeting as well, as far as the Act 1 index, and that'll be on next meeting's agenda. We also had an executive session to discuss a number of personnel items, and the next meeting is scheduled for December 3rd.
Great, thank you very much. Human Resources, Mr. Hart.
Our next meeting is next Tuesday at noon, and I just want to say welcome to Mr. Brad Hahn, our Director of HR, who started last Monday on the 28th, so welcome.
Great, thank you. Legislative update, Mr. Martin.
Not much is going to happen between now and next year. The Senate's only in for 6 days. I think I mentioned that too. There's only 6 more voting days. But I think 2020 is going to be very interesting. First of all, there will be property tax reform. Christine and I were at a Pell meeting, Pennsylvania Economy meeting last week, and it actually was based on school districts, the have and have-nots of school districts. And the school districts that are okay will still maintain that ability to be fine. The school districts are suffering, are still going to be suffering. But the bottom line is, when you look at, it goes back to the pension reform. I had a chance to speak with a gentleman from Pasville for about 20 minutes. And he assured me, as I think I said in the past, there will be some property tax reform, not like anything you've seen like Act 76, but there will be property tax reform because there needs to be a better way of funding schools throughout the Commonwealth. Of course, the big drains on school districts that are suffering and can't get out of the hole. The big is pension. Is just, even though pension costs have been decreasing, overall they're still percentages are decreasing, but they're still going up at a very high rate. Of course, the other thing was special education. It keeps being mandated to the school districts, and there's been basically flat funding for special education. They threw some more money in this year, but it's like trying to fill up a swimming pool with a spoon. It's not going to be enough. And of course, charter schools, which will also be something coming out next year too. There will be charter school reform next year also. The magnitude of that is unknown, but a couple of those things are going to be happening next year. That's it.
Great, thank you. Public Relations, Ms. Troutman.
Good evening, everyone. Just a couple of quick items. First, I wanted to mention that the Grandview Gallery is hosting an opening reception on November 9th from 2 to 5 p.m. For this new exhibit, which you see on the walls around you, called A Celebration of Our Green Valley Artists. So obviously this is artwork produced by our Green Valley students, which is fantastic. So the gallery is extremely honored to work with Mrs. Angelotti, who is the art teacher at Green Valley, and her artists to present this new exhibit. So please take a minute before you leave tonight to check out the amazing artwork of our students. We also want to remind you that this Saturday, our Wilson High School Junior ROTC will host the 18th annual Berks County Veterans Appreciation Dinner Dance from 4 to 10 in the gym. Tickets can be purchased in the high school office during the school day or at any Berks County Boscov's department store. Once again, we are looking forward to the opportunity to honor our veterans at this wonderful community event. And then finally, we are currently accepting applications for Wilson's Distinguished Alumni. Nominees must have graduated from Wilson High School at least 15 years prior to nomination, have consistently demonstrated both personally and professionally excellence of academic endeavors, career experience, and/or local, state, or national community service. The selected distinguished alumni are recognized during our National Honor Society induction ceremony, and the deadline for submission is December 31st, and we've posted all the details on our website, on the homepage of our website. Thank you.
Thank you. Wilson Education Foundation, Mr. Case.
I just want to mention it's the final push for the WEF for the Casino Bash. The WEF throws a good party for a good cause. If you like the Iron Chef, and the Casino Bash is just as great. So that is November 23rd, 2019, from 6 to 11 p.m. at the Berkshire Country Club. Tickets are online, on sale now. Go and get them. And there's all sorts of great activities that evening. There's, I can talk about all the great activities, right? There's no axe throwing. There's all sorts of, there's a dinner buffet, cocktail lounge, casino games. Everyone gets a $2,000 voucher, fake money. You can spend it. There's gifts at the end. There's a wine wall, silent auction. Lots of great silent auction things. If anyone's ever been one of these, they're fantastic. So get your tickets now. And if you really like to gamble, that bingo thing for the theater group is the day after, I believe. So you can make it a 2-day event, casino, bingo. Take what you win at the WEF and parlay it at the bingo game. So it's all good. They like to work in lockstep. So more information's on the website. It's a great event. So thank you.
I heard one of the silent auctions is Mr. Martin would do your taxes for you. Like that was I might buy that one. Technology, Mrs. Cocker.
No update.
Okay, thank you. Student outreach, Carolyn.
Hello. Our Wilson sports have made very impressive runs in this postseason this year. Karen Rippey won Berks County Girls Cross Country individual title, and the whole team was the Berks runner-up. Field hockey and volleyball were also the Berks County runner-ups this year, and girls and boys soccer both won 3rd place in our district and are advancing to state games. Boys water polo got 5th in the state, and this weekend the girls water polo team advanced from their 5th seed and got 4th place after 3 close games. 9 members of the girls and boys water polo teams were named to the all-state team, meaning they were one of the best players in the state. In addition to all our success in athletics, band and orchestra also had their first concert this year. The concert was fantastic, featuring orchestra solos by Teresa Hoffert, Paige Beidler, Marilyn DeMord, and Eva Fadley. Last week, some classes had a chance to learn outside the classroom. After reading To Kill a Mockingbird in 10th grade English, a group of students went to see the new show on Broadway with their teachers. Spanish classes also celebrated Mexican culture by taking a field trip and learning about Dia de los Muertos from college students at Kutztown. As of Saturday, the percussion section of marching band was ranked first compared to other bands in the circuit. This will help them in their championships at Westchester University this weekend. So, very great 2 weeks for Wilson High School.
Sure was. Awesome, thank you. So Dr. Fadley, did your daughter play one of your banjos, or does she have her own? She played her violin. Okay, awesome. Mr. Maravich, anything else for the cause?
No report.
Okay. And there's no public participation. Any other business from the board? Mr. Negrini?
Just one other public relations announcement. Wilson West is performing the musical Frozen Thursday, Friday, and Saturday afternoon. Very talented Anna is performing, so check it out.
And I know Olaf, too. He's going to be an awesome
yep.
Olaf.
She'll be great, yep.
Yep. Yes.
Something else. I forgot to mention, the governor did pass an election reform bill which provides additional funds for security and new voting machines throughout Pennsylvania at, quote, no cost to taxpayers, but I don't know how that figured it out. But one of the key things is coming at the next election, you will no longer be able to vote one party. You have to go in and each to pick out who you want. That's been done away with because they felt it didn't serve the public better, so you can no longer push that one button and vote straight one party. Also on the agenda for next year is the doing away with cross-filing. I don't know if that's going to make it through, but there's a lot of push between both parties to do away with the cross-filing because they feel it's a very deceptive policy because you don't know where that person stands for. That's it. I forgot to mention that.
Great. Thank you. Yes. Thank you. Any other business from the board? Looking for a motion to adjourn? Mr. Hart? Sorry, Mr. Hoppy beat you by a little bit. We are adjourned.